He had just shipped a very expensive piece of hardware to Kuala Lumpur and realized that he had sold the wrong power supply. Something as basic as that. The impact on his reputation, the impact on shipping costs, the impact on penalties because he shipped the wrong product, it was huge. If you have complex systems, complex solutions to sell, or sophisticated solutions. So CPQ is all about configure, price, quote. So the first thing is if you have a complex system, you need to provide your sales team with a very simple product configurator that allow them to go through all the different flows, identify the right product for the right use case, then allow them to automatically figure out the pricing, apply the right discounts, and finally, generate a very professional looking quote so that they can send to their customers. So that's the basics. But then the icing on the cake, especially for complex solution selling, is, well, what about add-ons? What about service contracts? What about warranties? Let's make sure that we are guiding our sales team to think about all of these extra add-ons so that we're obviously, maximizing the revenue and margins that we can offer our customers.
Yeah, and you're right, because here, let's say if you're not involved in these types of system or solution selling, you might not see the complexity, but it's actually really, really complex. And a lot of people we meet in the marketplace still use Excel, very manual, very extremely actually time consuming. Like salespeople actually spending most of their time making quotes instead of selling. So if they had the right tools, they could save hours upon hours every week with a properly configured CPQ or something similar. So expand a bit. You gave a couple of examples, add-ons, warranties, etc., service contracts. Anything you want to add regarding the system or solution selling, which can combine software, hardware, service?
Just 2 points. Traditionally, or a couple of years ago, most companies that offered a CPQ solution were high volume B2C use cases, computers, cars, that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, as you said, we see too many manufacturers or complex selling solutions out there still operating with a manual. So it's very, very complex. The biggest bang for the buck is when you have different models, and you have the concepts of constraints and dependencies. So if you pick model A, for example, computer, what are the CPUs that apply to this computer? What are the RAM modules that you can add? Which ones you cannot? So the constraints and dependencies really is at the core of creating this bundle and making sure that you're guiding your sales team and your customers to choose the right ones for their particular needs.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned this to me a while ago, that another big benefit is if it's properly designed, you save a lot on errors, which means you also save time and pain points to your operations team. So it's not just about the sales of it, it's about what comes after that, the ordering, the production, the delivery, and so on.
Yeah. A lot of our customers will ask, well, what is the ROI of CPQ? And I love giving the example of one of our customers. He had just shipped a very expensive piece of hardware to Kuala Lumpur and realized that he had sold the wrong power supply. Something as basic as that. The impact on his reputation, the impact on shipping costs, the impact on penalties because he shipped the wrong product, it was huge. The ROI for CPQ, just with that single error being removed, was paid off.
Yeah.
So that's one of the cases, but then there's so many other challenges that we see in the marketplace. The big one is ramp up time of your sales team. If you have to hire more salespeople and you're trying to scale your business, unfortunately, if you have a complex solution to sell, it takes a lot of time for your sales team to ramp up. That's one thing. The other thing is, If you're trying to scale your business, well, you need, it's all about statistics. It's a numbers game. How many quotes can you get out there in the market? If it takes a lot of time generating those quotes, then your sales team isn't actually calling up on new customers and generating those quotes.
Yeah, and you might actually drop opportunities just because it seems too small to take the time to quote. That's how long your quoting process can take.
Exactly. And then worst, and this is something we see a lot, so many companies only have a couple highly specialized staff that can even conceive these quotes just because they're too complex. So how can you scale a business when you're dependent on a couple key staff to generate those quotes?
Yeah.
So just those challenges are extremely important, especially in the manufacturing or complex solution selling.
Yeah, the very precious sales engineer.
Correct.